Well, I'm a running down the road trying to loosen my load. I've got 7 women on my mind. 4 that wanna own me, 2 that wanna store me, 1 so she's a friend of mine. Take it easy.
Hi, welcome to another episode of Airspeed Sessions, where we delve into the lives of everyday gigging musicians. I'm Rusty Schaefer, your host, and this podcast is sponsored by Airspeed Audio. Our goal here is to give you some insight as to what motivates these musicians to keep playing and to let you in on their journey and their music. You just heard a little clip from Tom Rojas and his band, the Wedge Brothers. So welcome, Tom, to the Airspeed Sessions podcast.
Well, thank you, Rusty. It's nice to be here. Nice to meet you.
Very cool. So let's get a couple of things out in the open right now for our audience. You are in the Las Vegas area.
Correct.
My understanding is you grew up here.
I did. I was born in New Orleans, but literally 6 weeks old when we moved out. So I've been here my whole life.
Wow, you've seen some changes.
A lot of changes.
Okay, so we'll get to your band, the Wedge Brothers, because you guys are playing on the Strip and all around town. I want to go back and start. And you know, I've read that you started playing at age 10. Is that true?
That's true.
Yeah.
I was
Tell us how that came about.
Well, I was shipped off to summer camp with a couple of older brothers, one of my younger sisters, and I think the first night out, the camp counselors were out around the fire pit, and they brought out their acoustic guitars, and they were playing Beatles and Horse with No Name, I think was the big song. America just come out. This is 71. I'm old. I'm older than you. So yeah, so it's been a long time, but I knew immediately I wanna play guitar. I wanna do what these guys are doing. And I came home, and you know, my parents, bless my parents, my mom took me down and got me a Ibanez acoustic guitar, blonde. It was almost white. It was blonde guitar, and that's what I learned on. And
so how did that, did you take lessons? Did you self-taught?
No.
How did that work?
Self-taught. In fact, the piano, we had a house piano, a baby grand that my parents had, and nobody really played. You know, I would play a little bit on it, but they had a couple of these fake books. I don't remember if you remember those fake books.
I absolutely do.
I remember those. So, and it was all piano, and it was, 60s and 70s songs. And so you might get some James Taylor, Carole King in there, but there were a lot of like movie, songs and stuff. But they used to have the chord, positions in there. And so I'd see D, and I knew where to put my fingers, and C and G. And when I got to that F bar chord, that slowed me down a little.
You and me both. I think
right?
they were called Made Easy for Guitar.
I think
would have
that's it.
Made Easy for Guitar, America. Made Easy for Guitar, James Taylor.
Yeah, that was it. So there was a couple of those laying around on the piano, and I kind of learned on that. And that type of singer-songwriter, that kind of era of music, was really what, Beatles, of course, was what I really learned growing up. And my buddies would come over, and we'd jam and try to harmonize and learn new Beatles tunes in America and all that kind of stuff. My older brother got into guitar, and he started, he had the Les Paul, and he was rocking, and he's into like Warrant and Dokken and all those April Wine and those bands. He got me into Styx, which I love. Yeah, just that's I've been playing ever since.
So we're not done though. We got a lot of history to cover.
Yeah.
So, all right. So 10 years old, you're doing this, which I think is phenomenal to know what you want to do. Right. So you're out there, you're playing. When did you get electric? When did electric guitar happen?
Oh, by the time I was in high school, I saw my brother, and he was plugging into his Fender amp, and I wanted to do that too. So yeah, by the time I was in high school, I had a couple of guitars, electrics and acoustics, and but for me, it was always easy just to pick up the acoustic and play. And it was kind of like the music that I, still to this day enjoy, the just a little bit more of the mellow singer-songwriter. Yet the Wedge Brothers, we'll do, Stone Temple Pilots if we need to, or Green Day, which I love. And I love doing that stuff. But my background really is kind of singer-songwriter type stuff.
Okay, so So a lot of people when they tackle guitar, they go through these various plateaus, right? And it sounds like you did too. They have a plateau. A lot of plateaus happen when you hear distortion for the first time. People just go, "Oh my God, I can do this now," or they hook up delay. Oh
Right.
my God, listen to how great, Did that happen to you, or were you still more acoustic singer-songwriter?
Still more acoustic, because I didn't play in a band in high school. So there wasn't really anybody else to kind of play with in the electrical. You could play the acoustic and I could do all my stuff by myself, or a couple of buddies would come over and, we'd sing and do that kind of stuff. I didn't start playing in a band till I was 39. So
Really?
yeah, so I played when I was at USC. I went to school at USC. 2 years, they had a thing called Greek Fest where fraternities and sororities would get together and they'd do like 3 songs. So there'd be a band, a band that was made up, and then there'd be singers and dancers out there. And we got to play the Greek Theater twice, which was pretty cool. Cool venue to. That's the
Yeah.
only time I was ever on stage playing.
So you
Um,
so you never did any open mic nights or anything like
not
that at small
not in
bars?
not in high school, but boy, when I finally started playing, we did a lot. I mean, we had a couple years
Right.
where we played over 250 gigs. It was a
So
lot.
what about all right, so you're going along having a good old great time with an acoustic guitar. Are you delving into songwriting at all? Are you kind of experimenting there?
I wasn't really good. I wasn't really good at it. So, it not really, to be honest with you. I love playing covers. Um, I love music. So if I love a song, I love playing it, if I can. And for me, it was always fun learning new songs in my repertoire. Now, if I do a solo gig, 400 or 500 songs, I don't need the lyrics, I don't need the chords. I just know the songs. I could play 3 4 hours straight. And I just think that's from doing it for so long, going back to before high school,
Right. I
just
saw the set list. I saw your song list on the website, right? Which we'll put up on the screen, wedgebrothers.com.
yeah.
And I mean it's voluminous. It's huge.
And it's probably hasn't been updated for a couple of years. We just keep adding new songs, and we've got a new gal that's joined us, Kelly Sheehan, vocalist. We're always the Wedge Brothers. We've been around. It'll be 25 years in November that we've been playing. So we've been around a long time. And Kelly and I have played as a duo for 25 years. I'll background, she sings, I maybe sing, 10, 20% of the songs. But with her coming on board, and she's, we can sing Janis Joplin now. We can do Stevie Nicks and, Fleetwood Mac type tunes, Melissa Etheridge. So we really haven't updated that set list. There's a lot more songs to add.
Well, let's keep going back for a second. So,
Okay.
all right. So you graduate USC, and now what do you what tell me what you're doing? Because you're still playing guitar, but
I'm
what do
still
you,
playing guitar, but I'm also playing golf. And and I actually got up I was a PGA golf professional here in town
are
at a
you kidding me? How come that's not on your website?
I don't know. We're talking music. We're not talking golf.
Doesn't say Tom was a PGA pro.
Well, he wasn't a very good one. I was a good instructor, but as far as a player, I mean,
Yeah, but come on, the suckiest pro could go shoot par
well, yeah,
anywhere around.
back then I could, but that's what I did when I graduated. I didn't really know what I was going to do, but the professional that was teaching me at the time, when I was playing when I was at college, he said, "What are you going to do?" I said, "I don't know." He says, "Why don't you come get in the PGA program? I'm working at a brand new golf course, private club that was opening up in Vegas." I'm like, "Yeah, get back to Vegas and I get to play golf for a living." And I still have my guitars with me. I had them in college, and we set the amp out there, and we blow it up on the patio and stuff. But yeah, I was really into golf, but I always played guitar all the way through. And but I did that. Yeah, I was in the golf industry for about 12 years.
Now, do you still play golf?
Not very well.
I don't believe that for a minute,
Uh,
but I mean, do you still go out there and
I
hit
do. Yeah. I do. Yeah. I have fun with my friends, and we go out. And sometimes it's a little frustrating when you know how good you were and you're really not that goodness.
That's what I hear. Now, I have not hit that, of course, because I mean, we could get a birdie one hole and I'm grooving, right? Okay. That's very interesting. So you're playing guitar. What happens at age 39 that you say, let's start a band? I want to do what happens? What's the thing in life?
So I was one of my closest friends still to this day, Mike O'Brien. He's if you've been in Vegas, you would probably know the name. He's been the top morning DJ. He's on KKLZ right now, 96.3. He was playing with Tommy Rocker. I'm not sure if you've heard of Tommy Rocker here in Vegas. So Tommy's he's had several clubs over the years, but always music venues. And he'd been and still is, for years, music legend in Vegas. I mean, if you're in music in Vegas, you probably have heard of Tommy Rocker. You maybe have played at his venue. Well, Mike was playing in Tommy's band back then. This is 98, 97, 96. And I'd go hang out, and every once in a while I'd get up and I'd play a little bit. And Mike said, man, we should start a band. And we had a gig coming up at Tommy Rocker's that we'd put the band together for. It was actually my older brother's 40th surprise birthday party. So we just thought we were going to play one night, put the band together. We didn't even have a name. And that night, one of my friends who owned a number of taverns in town, the Corrigan Company, Corrigans, their family, they booked us, and we played every Friday night at one of their locations for several years. But from that, now we're playing Saturday night somewhere, the Thursday nights, twice on Saturdays. And it literally, the first couple of full years that we played 200, 250 dates a year. It got to be too much. Pretty much every bar in Vegas we were playing. And that's how it all started. The name came from, we're talking golf. We were on the golf course. We had been drinking, and I'm with Mike, and the radio station called and said, hey, we're running a promo on your band. What's the name of your band? And he was like, looks around, he goes, well, you're Lob Wedge, you're Pitching Wedge, I'm Sandwich. I guess we're the Wedge brothers. And we never thought we never thought it was going to go anywhere. There was no plan to, we're going to do this way. It just happened. And then we just kept getting booked. And the band's evolved over the years, for sure. I mean, Mike retired out of the band 7-8 years ago, but Jack Roth, who's on drums, and Steve Nation, lead guitar, they've been in the band 18 years.
Introducing the Airspeed 2x12 PPD speaker cabinet. Designed and custom built in the USA with a focus on innovative design, expert craftsmanship, stunning elegance, and stellar audio quality. Our patent-pending performance projection design system lets you hear your speakers at their best. Angling the speaker baffle back 15 degrees, you now hear sound on axis instead of off-axis. You can learn more about the product on our website at airspeedaudio.com.
My son, Alex, he's our bass player. He's been with the band 6-7 years now. So that's how it all came about.
That's right. I mean, I want to say happy accident, but I don't think it was really an accident. I think it was just a progression, really, right?
I think so. I think so. And it's one thing. I'm pretty proud of it, to be honest with you, to be, one of the original, well, the only original left, to have a band for 25 years. And you played in bands, you've been around bands. It's not easy to keep guys together for 25 years.
No, it's not.
Whether it's egos, whether it's fighting, whether it's this person moves out of town, or this person maybe gets sick, or whatever it is.
Right.
Life. So we're all blessed, and I don't take that for granted at all. I know how blessed I am. I know how blessed a small little bar band like that, who can play some of the venues that we played, particularly out of town. I mean, it's just, I pinch myself. And the bands that we've opened for, you mentioned America. We opened for America on the 4th of July out at Lake Las Vegas. For me, my first song on the guitar was Horse with No Name. I mean, those were the guys. So when we opened for them, I really wanted to meet them. I was hoping that we didn't get to meet them at all. Fast forward about 6-7 years later, and the band's playing at the Cannery, which is a great venue here in Vegas. And I was talking to the sound guy, and I said, hey, my wife and I, we're going to be back next week. America's playing. And I told him the story about when we played with America and opened up for him at Lake Las Vegas. It was 120 degrees, 100. It was the hottest gig I'd ever played. And we played 5 to 7 o'clock, and then they came on. So now we're in the audience watching them, and it's just dripping. There's no breeze. You're right on the water. And I just told him, I said, it was the hottest gig I ever played. So we go back a week later, say hello to him. And he says, hey, I told the guys about the story that a buddy of mine opened up for you years ago and how hot it was. And they said, we totally remember that. Did have him come backstage. So 7 years later, we got to go backstage. We meet, Jerry and Dewey and Rich Campbell. And Jerry said that was the hottest gig that America had ever played in their close to 50 years at the time.
Yeah.
So for a small little band, we were talking before the podcast, your experience with David Gilmour. I mean, to have that kind of experience.
Yeah, no, it's very cool. It's a whole bunch of different emotions, right?
It really
It's like,
is.
because I've played with Jerry and Dewey, and not only are they good friends of mine, but it's again, it's you're starstruck, you're humbled, you it raises your game. I mean, there's so much crazy.
I know, right? Yeah.
It's crazy. And then, of course, add into that as the cherry on top, crazy fans, right? So you have, I would go up and do like encores with them, right? And I would play,
How
I
fun.
mean, 10, 20 times with them. And you're sitting there and people are throwing like bras and panties on the stage. And you're like, I'm 45 years old. And so are you, by the way. And I don't get this. I'm not used. And Jerry would look over. He would smile at me, like, welcome to, our life.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I can't even imagine what they went through when they were, younger.
Right.
And,
Right.
Jerry's Grammy is on his piano in his piano room. And it's like, and I've actually seen that thing in the wood. It's really it's like an old piece of wood, something you'd see at like a garage sale. And of course, there's the
Grammy sitting right on.
And it's just amazing. It's very surreal.
It is.
So,
And that's why I was saying earlier, I there's such an appreciation because there's some great bands in Vegas, and I'm not taking anything away from us because we really have gotten to be a good band, and we're professional. I think this is where we're fun. There's a reason why we're getting hired after 25 years, but there's some great musicians out there, as you know. And so for a small little band that just got kind of thrown together to open for these national acts and to play these venues, it's such an appreciation. It's so many musicians would love to have had that opportunity.
yeah. So do you play electric on stage or strictly,
No, electric. Yeah, well, both. Like we're in Oceanside next week we're playing for Caltrans, and I've got a 12 string I'm going to bring down because we're actually playing a couple of America tunes. I'll bring a Les Paul or something or a Telly, and
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Now, are you with those acoustics? I'm assuming you're going direct into the PA when you're playing live.
I do, and I've got a Fishman acoustic DI. It's got some EQ on it and a couple, and I've got a body res and I'll throw like a little reverb on there.
There's a video out there on YouTube. What is it? The 20th anniversary sort of video, or is it? Let me see.
Oh yeah. No, that's right. We threw it together a little
Wedge Brothers 20th anniversary party. Go out there on YouTube and find it, and it's done really well. And when you said you played so long and people are hiring you and you're taking this professionally, the thing that I find that makes a giant difference is your sound. Whoever is, because you can have the greatest musicians in the world, and if you've got a horrible sound guy, I don't care who they are, forget it, right? So that video, I found that video, I was listening to it before we did the podcast here, and the sound is awesome on that video. The mix is perfect.
Thank you. And that Steve, our lead guitarist, Steve Nation, he usually runs the sound when we have to run it ourselves. And that night, we were at Tommy Rocker's. That's Tommy Rocker's venue where that video was shot. So we basically brought on our board with a couple of monitors and had to kind of run through his system that he had in the house. But when you're running your own sound, unless you're wireless, even if you're wireless, you go out front and maybe you can hear everybody else. It's tough to get a really good mix out in the mains. Unless somebody's coming up to you and saying, "Hey, Tom, your guitar's too loud," or Jack, your kick's not loud enough, or whatever it is. So that actually came out pretty good because that was kind of that night was a mishmash of all people who have played with us over the years, guest players. We've had, and friends and musicians that got up and so there was kind of a lot going on stage with the mics and stuff.
So how many weeks a night are you gigging then? Not weeks a night. How many nights a week?
Yeah, I knew what you meant, which is every month's different because we don't have like a standard. I had a standard solo going on Friday afternoons for a number of months, but September, I think we're booked. I think we have like 10 dates in September.
Cool. And I know tomorrow night, well, this may not be out by September 5th, but you're playing at the Aviators Ballpark in Summerlin.
That's right. We're playing 5 to 7, and then the first pitch is at 7:05. They've got a really cool plaza area. I think Tony Marquez's band was there a couple of weeks ago, did a great job, and
very cool.
Another good guy. And then the next night, which hopefully it's out, but if it's not, we're at Frankie's Uptown, which is in downtown Summerlin. Friday night, 8 to 11.
We'll put all these links on when this goes out. I'm sure they're up here right now as people are watching. But we'll put these links. There's a great website, Wedge Brothers website. They've got the upcoming gigs. You need to put your golf stuff on the bio. That's really amazing. And of course it ties in because of the name of the band. So it's very cool. So last question, sort of, what's the future hold? Like, we just keep going, we keep rocking out?
Keep going until my body doesn't, allow anymore. I don't know. I love it. I mean, in life, it's, if you're fortunate enough to have a passion and you're able to do it, it's nice to make, some money doing it as well. My wife keeps saying, you got 30 guitars, how many more do you need? And I'm like, just one more. Just one more.
One more amp,
you have to bring in some money, and just keep doing what we're doing. And like I said, we're blessed because every year it seems like we've got 5 or 6 out of town gigs that are really good gigs. I mean, it's some venues that like we played where Prince filmed Purple Rain in Minneapolis a couple years ago, House of Blues in New Orleans. Those are fun. We get to do those, and then whatever Vegas brings. I was watching your podcast with the Garage Boys, and they're talking about the traveling and kind of changing that up. And we're a little different. We all have jobs, but if we can play 6, 8, 10 times a month, we get make some extra money and enjoy what we're doing. Yeah,
Tom, thank you so much for joining us on Airspeed Sessions. Check out Wedge Brothers. They're in and around Vegas and elsewhere. All their gigs are up on their website, and we will be looking for you on the Strip. And we'll probably want to revisit you in 6 months and see what you're up to.
Well, I'd certainly like that, and congrats again on Airspeed Audio and the cat. I can't wait to check that out.
Cool. All right. All right. Well, we are done. Thanks everybody for tuning into another great Airspeed session.
For the one who owned me two, the one who stole me once, she's a friend of mine. Take it easy, take it easy. Don't let the sound of your own wheels drive you crazy.